Hello and welcome to Blinkers Off. Good to be back for Doomben Cup Day at the Brisbane Racing Club. It's going to be exciting races, and I'm joined by Bloodstock agent Grant Morgan, the purchaser of Brazen Bow, and big-time footy coach Ben Perkins. First of all, Grant, welcome.
Great to be back, Jess. Waiting for the next Brazen Bow. Everyone gets one in their lifetime, they tell me. So I'm greedy. I want two.
Yeah,
want two.
Three.
Or three.
I'll take four. All right, Ben, how are you?
Yeah, I'm still breathing, thanks, Jesse.
How you been on the punt lately?
Mate, I've been copping it left, right and centre.
Oh, that's good. All right, we're going to crack on the show. We've got Michael Hellier and Michael Carl in the 2020. We're also down the track with Bjorn Baker's foreman. We take a look at COOLRING, Miss Tempins and Imposing Lass as well. We congratulate to Brett Hunter and Peter ARTLEE on winner of the Doomben Cup tickets. All right, Grant, let's crack on into it. The first leg of the quaddie.
Good race, Jess, to kick off with. Genuine tempo here. They're going to run along pretty strongly. I can find about 10 winning chances in the race. I think ARTLEE is the best bet of the day, though. He comes back from weight for Age Company, drops 3.5 kilos, is drawn well. Michael Carl to ride. The key to this horse is don't be worried about the 7-day backup. His previous best career rating was when he won the country championships at Randwick off a 7-day backup, and he went from 1,200 to 1,400 on that occasion. So it's the same pattern as that particular run, so don't be worried about that. Wait until right when they load into the gates, I reckon, to back him. I reckon they'll come for lots of horses in this race. I think he was unders earlier in the week. I think he'll get out to his right price. Got him rated about $4. If you can get $4 beyond strongly, I think he'll win. BACHMAN, SNIPPETS, Land and COOLRING from the good Sydney stables of Ryan, Snowden and Baker are the ones to beat, but certainly keen on ARTLEE, Jess.
ARTLEE looks to be one, definitely on the improve. And like you say, those horses that replicate that form or have good form third up can generally replicate it and produce that.
Love patterns, Jess. Yeah. That's what you got to follow, I think.
History usually repeats itself.
Correct. Let's hope so.
All right, we're going to take a look at ARTLEE's run just after Ben's selections. It's quite a good run. It's in Malaguera's race from last week. Ben, how do you see the race panning out?
Well, how it pans out is that there's a lot of pace in this race with Religify, COOLRING and Charmed Harmony, and possibly even the Snowden horse all going forward, setting up a good pace. And to me, that should give ARTLEE a really, really nice drag into the race from about, I've got him about 5th in the run.
Yep.
I think he's weighted to run extremely well in this race. I think the big value runner in the race, because I've got actually ARTLEE, my computer says $5, so I'm not taking less than $5 because I'm disciplined. And number 10 here, Trubia. Now this horse is $16 in the early markets, and my computer's only got it $7.50, and I reckon this horse has got a lot of ability, and I can see it really running home fast if they do put on a very quick tempo, even though it is Doomben, where, you know, front runners, it can be that they can just career away. But number 1, Charmed Harmony, I think is a very interesting runner. 59 kilos is a lot of weight, but it's a pretty courageous sort of animal. So I think it'll run a race. And number 3, COOLRING, well, you know, beyond Baker, he's taking all before him, and people are telling me that he could be moving in to Chris Waller's, you know, neighbourhood, and could even be only across the road to keep a good eye on him, because that's how well that young Bjorn Baker is going.
Yeah, no, Bjorn's flying at the moment. We're going to take a look at some of those horses down at the track. We're going to take a look at ARTLEE's run now from last week. It was in Malaguera's race in the BTC Cup, high quality Group 1. He's sitting 3rd last in the red with the white sleeves. Here we are with ARTLEE. And watch out for Delectation, who's last.
And Stradum Star and ARTLEE's back 3rd last. 2 blue, 400 metres left to go. Led by a neat length here from on the outside, Malaguera. Echo Gal going to 3rd. Fell Sweeper's work. Dothraki's coming through, and Japanisma down the outside. 2 blue, Malaguera. Dothraki on the outside. 2 blue, Malaguera, Dothraki. Fell Sweep and Japanisma down the outside. Dothraki's taken the lead narrowly from Malaguera, Japanisma. Malaguera coming back at Dothraki. Dothraki, Malaguera. I think Malaguera kicked back to win from Dothraki. Not sure 3rd. Fell Sweeps up there with Japanisma.
ARTLEE there running a good race. Michael Carl fell off after the race, and Delectation looked to be getting home nice and strong, and looks to be one for the Stradbroke. Grant, you're up at Eagle Farm, and you caught up with Kieran Maher and Azakadelia. How are they?
Yeah, she looks well. She's not the flashiest filly to look at. She's only not very big and quite plain, but you know, they just do so well, those mares up here in Queensland over the winter. We've seen it with Shri Candy, with Kieran in the past. So I'd say to her backers, she's on target.
All right, so if you're taking the $5 for the Stradbroke, I reckon that's a bit under myself.
Yeah, Stradbrokes, you're looking for $6, $7, $8,
Yeah.
but yeah, $5 not too bad, but wait a bit longer perhaps.
All right, you might do better shopping. Okay, it's the second leg of the quaddie, race 6. Ben?
Race 6, well, my favourite poem begins, "The creator of night and of birth was the maker of the stars. Shall we look up now at stars in winter and call them always sweeter friends, because this story of a mother and a child never is told with the stars left out." And I'm going here for the Van Dyke horse, Look to the Stars, number 2. It's about $15, and at Doomben, I think it might be able to squeeze out the 2,000 metres. I thought the race was really, really difficult, and so I've gone for what I think is, a good value horse at $14, $15 in Look to the Stars. I think Chandana, it's had 3 runs in, but to me, it's looked very heavy getting to the line, and it did get beaten 4 lengths last start, which is a long way at the racetrack. Number 3, Imposing Lass, the Beyond Baker horse.
Yeah.
I query it from the wide gate. I think it's going to have to be, used up a bit. But if Doomben is favouring those leading sort of horses, you can't leave it out. And number 1, Ambience. It hasn't raced for 6 weeks, and I think it's there for a gallop. But I think a handy 4th would, to me, show it's ready to go on, to the big race coming up. That's sort of what I'm thinking, but I am terrified.
So Look to the Stars.
Oh, I'm looking all the time.
Maker of the Stars. In the red shed, down in Adelaide. All right, what do you like in the second leg?
Well, I hope John O'Shea is taking a leaf out of Ben's book and he can find some colourful language to use with James McDonald before the race who rides Ambience for him. I reckon the Godolphin horses have been slaughtered the last couple of weeks. Yeah. We first saw him pending here at the Gold Coast and Souchet last week. I hope John tells James to be positive out of the gates. Get going. Give them a push out of the gates. Don't be negative, because those two-year-olds got beat that way. And I think this mare, if she can get to midfield or better, she's going to be the one to beat. She's drawn well. She's the class runner. She's Group 1 place, set weight suitor. So I'm with Ambience to turn around the bad luck of Godolphin for the last couple of weeks. Imposing Lass, agrees she's going to be hard to beat, but I query her at a strong 2,000 metres from the wide alley too, but I'm respecting Beyond
Has fought on strong at the end, hasn't
it? It has.
Been
tough. It's out of a Zabeel mare, so they're really tough horses. But
by McPhee.
Yeah.
Won a derby.
Doing a good job, McPhee too. Self-esteem wasn't far away from Ambience in Sydney, so you give it a good chance. Alaskan Rose is my Oaks pick. I think when she gets to Eagle Farm, she's going to be very hard to beat, but she's drawn badly, and I think she's just going to be there for the run on Saturday. But I'm keen on Ambience, and I just hope James can be positive out of the gates and make it begin and get into a position. Not overdo it, but make it begin.
I'll tell you what I did do. I took 40-1 about Queen of Wands. I thought it could be a big track horse, and I think 40-1 Queen of Wands, I think it's a good price. I think it's worth $5.
All right, a 40-1, I'm sure. Why not? It's worth a chance. Worth something.
Well, I think it's
$5.
a big track horse. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think he's going to see a lot of horses get back to Eagle Farm, and they're going to be different. So if you can speculate now, before we get back to Eagle Farm, you can get a good value. And Alaskan Rose is one of those horses. I think it's something like $26 or something in the markets.
All right, I was back to the track, and I was speaking with Bjorn Baker's apprentice jockey and travelling foreman, Jean Overmere. Hope I've corrected it correctly. Here I am back to the track. I'm joined by Bjorn Baker's travelling foreman, Jean, and welcome, Jean.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well, mate. You got a couple of nice horses up here, Imposing Lass, Miss 10 Pins, and COOLRING. First of all, COOLRING, how's he coming along?
COOLRING's fine. We worked him on Saturday. Did some fast work with him on Saturday, and I was very impressed with him. He's fresh and well. Couldn't be happy with him.
Now, also on screen here, we're looking at Imposing Lass, a nice, lovely long type of filly by McPhee. How's she coming along?
You couldn't fault her. Could not fault her. She's fresh and well. We did a piece of fast work with her on Tuesday, and I was very happy with her. I was very impressed with her, and I think she's definitely come on from her last run.
How many races more is she planned for the Winter Carnival?
I think Beyond's got two more planned for her, but I suppose we'll see how we go on Saturday and then go from there.
One of the other runners for the day is Miss 10 Pins. Lovely looking filly here, completely different to Imposing Lass. In short, coupled and real sprinter type.
No, I'm over the moon of her as well. I worked her on Saturday and she galloped very well, and we've just been doing light work with her after that, and she's fresh. She'll go well on Saturday.
Does she sit on the pace?
She does. She'll go forward, and that's where she comes from. And no, we're hopeful.
She does look well, and she's jumping around there, playing up a bit. Always a good sign.
She's very fresh, and like I said, I couldn't be happier with her, and she's 100%.
All right, Jean, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It was great down the track there talking with Jean. He's an apprentice jockey, and he'll start his trials when he gets back to Sydney after the Winter Carnival, and a lovely man and from South Africa. So looks to have plenty of potential, an imposing lass. Looks to be very hard to beat. But my pick of the Bjorn Bakers is Miss Tenpins. She looked to be in great form. She looks to be well. She's got that nice bit of coating over the ribs, and she was jumping around, which is always a good sign. Now it's 2020 when I'm down the track with Michael Carl.
Favourite colour?
Blue.
Bath or shower?
Shower.
Favourite drink?
Chocolate thick shake.
Favourite book?
The Gate.
What annoys you the most?
Slow horses.
The one single food you'd never give up?
Breakfast.
Favourite movie?
The Revenant.
Favourite food?
Seafood.
Footy teams?
Manly.
Favourite sport?
Rugby league.
Pen or pencil?
Pen.
The first person you call when you're having a bad day?
My mother.
Favourite season?
Summer.
Favourite day of the week?
Monday.
Chocolate or strawberry?
Chocolate.
Do you play a musical instrument?
No.
Favourite song?
Lush Life.
TV show you secretly enjoy?
Four Corners.
One place you could travel to right now?
Brazil.
Movies or TV?
Movies.
Blondes or brunettes?
I'd have to say brunettes.
Great catching up with Michael Carl, a gentleman of the turf. It's a Doomben Cup now. We're going to look at third leg of the quaddie, the Group 1, the race of the day. How do you see the race?
Keen on Volkstok'N'Barrell, Jess. I thought he was given, shall we say, a quietish run at the Gold Coast behind Leebaz. He was doing his best work late at the 1800 metre mark. So steps to 2,000 metres on Saturday, and his record over 2,000 is outstanding. He's won 2 from 3. Don't think he has to get too far back. He won at Ellerslie 3 starts back, and he was settled 5th, 3rd the turn. So he can be ridden a bit more positively. I think Blake Shin will be a bit more aggressive in the Doomben Cup, because I think this is his grand final day. So expect Volkstock to be the one to beat. He'll probably defeat the perennial bridesmaid in Hauraki. The blinkers go on. I'm almost out of Hauraki cards.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit of a thinker. He loomed up to win that race last start and just didn't want to go on with it, so he's probably last chance for most. Our Ivanhowe, I'm giving him a chance, but I'm a little bit concerned that he's more of a Melbourne way of going horse. His best European form was Melbourne way, and certainly his best Australian form's been Melbourne way, but it's the right race. But if he doesn't produce in the Doomben Cup, I would scratch him from all Sydney or Brisbane races in the future. And Spiritjim was good enough at the Gold Coast to suggest that he can improve too for the Wally Yard. But I'm keen on Volkstock, Jess.
Yeah, it looks to be, I agree. I do think he's the best horse in the race, and he's got the best improvement in him. All right, Ben, how do you see the race?
Well, the way I see it is I think John Hawkes holds a big hand in this race, because I think Leebaz is going to get a very, very similar run to what it got at the Gold Coast, because his stablemate Massine's going to go forward here, set up a really nice tempo. Leebaz is going to slot in 3rd or 4th on the rails, and Doomben and Gold Coast are not dissimilar. They often play the same way when the tracks are hard and fast. Those front horses just get that little kick along and end up going extremely well. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go for. I think Leebaz is. Well, you can't say that about a Hawkes horse, because John Hawkes and Bjorn Baker, they are winning so many races now. Saying that John Hawkes can't win, to me, is. I
thought that the Gold Coast Turf Club, it's a swampy surface, and it's quite different underfoot than Doomben. And I think certain horses perform a lot better on that actual surface.
Yeah, well, the way Hawkes' horses are going, I reckon they
turned up out of nowhere.
They can win running underwater. Now, the other horse in the race...
It's going to be firm track anyway.
Well, I think it's going to be firm for sure, because Brisbane at the moment is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Now,
Beautiful
number one,
day.
Volkstock
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I watched this Hollandale Stakes race today. I watched it over and over and over, and you couldn't help but be impressed with Volkstock. And like Grantley says, if it can sit closer, it's going to be very, very hard to beat. Number 5, It's Somewhat. I thought it was doing its best work also that last that last little bit. And same with Spiritjim. I'm looking for it at Eagle Farm third up, but I would still expect it to run a respectable, handy fourth here, because it was also just getting warmed up late in that race. But do not be surprised if Messine runs along out in front and Leebaz gets the drop on these horses again. I think it's right in the race.
I think it can't win personally. Do you think it's got a chance?
Well, look, it won the Hollandale last year and it went like a dromedary in the Doomben Cup last year. So I'm with you, Jess. I think it's a Gold Coast horse, and I wouldn't be backing it with counterfeit money myself. So there you go. We've gone out on a limb.
Have you got any counterfeit money?
Well, you never know. It is a Gold Coast.
Counterfeit money in the races. You know.
I might give you some after the show. Oh. It's last leg of the quaddie. I'm sure we'll be going live into the last leg. And Ben, can you round us off with a winner?
Mr. Magoo here, I think. Look, every year...
Probably not.
Well, probably not. No, I think this race
Come on,
is
you can do better than that.
No, but there's so many of the good horses in this field are
I
drawn
do think
poorly.
a good horse is going to come out of this race.
Well, that's what I'm sort of banking on here with Chris Waller. With Jim Bacchus here, Sir Bacchus, because I'm telling you, if Jim Bacchus was an Englishman, he would have been Sir Jim Bacchus. And this horse's last two runs, he's on the up. And every year, Chris Waller brings a horse to Brisbane who really announces himself as being a future star. And the way this horse has been hitting the line, he's one of the few horses in this race who's drawn well to get that easy midfield run, too wide with a bit of cover. I can see it finishing on really, really strongly, because I'm taking on the wide runners here. Now, number 13, 50 to 1. They bet 60s.
Ooh, 50 to 1.
Perfect dare. Now, this horse is going to go forward from gate 3 and be in the race a long time. I think throw it in something at 50, 60 to 1, because most people won't. Number 16, Sold for Song. Now, its run last start was just absolutely enormous, and luckily for us that the race wasn't sort of 2 strides longer, because Takedown was in serious, serious danger of getting rolled when we just all turned away when it was 4 in front, and all of a sudden Sold for Song just went wow, and it was an exciting run, very exciting run. Number 3, Ragesse. Now, I don't like its barrier. It's going to have to go forward, I think, and try and get into about 5th or 6th. But if it at all misses the start or doesn't jump, with great purity, I can see it being in enormous trouble, being trapped 4 wide, and forget about it.
But Darren,
I think it's
horse,
a risk.
they don't miss the jump.
They
don't miss the start.
No, I've been thinking about riding to Darren Lee. Maybe he can start feeding me, because I'm telling you what, whatever he feeds his horses, they are absolutely thriving. He's an extraordinary horseman. And the other horse is number 9, Have a Say. I thought it might be in the mix, because it's going to get a good run, that you're guaranteed to get a good run, because a lot of these horses, you just don't know where they're going to be.
Yeah, no, I think this is a race with a lot of potential. I think a few good horses are going to come out of this, Grant. How do you see the race?
I'm keen on Ragesse, Jess. I'm not as concerned about the barrier. I'm confident that the Weir camp will do their homework. Yeah. They know how to travel horses. They've got a guy called Peter Ellis who does the form for them. He walks the tracks. He does all the speed maps. And I think Peter will pick that there's not a heap of speed in this race. I think he'll pick the takedown has to come across from barrier 17, and I think if they can get a toe-off takedown, Ragesse slots in, and if he slots in, it'll be all over. Ragesse will be winning this. He's a smart colt. He's part owned by the Schick family of Windsor Park Stud. He's a colt. So this is an important stepping stone towards a Group 1 Stradbroke handicap, and I expect Ragesse to win.
And have you got a tie-up with that stable at all?
I'd like to, yeah.
Oh, right. Is Ragesse, we're going to take a look at the footage of Ragesse winning his last start in Adelaide.
It was a brilliant win.
Yep.
He just went bang.
And he's well in the markets in the Stradbroke. Like, he's $17.
Mate, this horse has been improved out of sight by Weir. It's just astonishing.
No, it's really improved. We're just going to take a look at Ragesse now winning his last start at Adelaide.
Rawilla's making his move now with the hot pop Ragesse. Here it comes down the outside. And it just went straight past them, gave them pneumonia. Ragesse dashed to the lead here from Battle Brewing. It's second at the moment. Then Serenade running on late down the outside was Catch a Fire, but Ragesse off and gone. It's going to bolt in. Ragesse wins by nearly 5. Battle Brewing second.
We got OLBG with Steve, and he's got Manchester United. Looks to be a pretty good bet.
Hi Jesse, I know what you're thinking. There's something different about Steve this week. You've guessed it, I've got a full-on Jesse. It's the FA Cup final here in England this weekend. Manchester United will be playing Crystal Palace at Wembley Stadium. Now, last weekend there was a bomb scare at Old Trafford. The final game against Bournemouth was postponed. They played that on Wednesday with a much weakened team. Basically, it means that Manchester United have been able to keep the A-team fresh and ready for the FA Cup final this weekend. We think at OLBG that 1.85 for a Manchester United win is great value. Also, the OLBG.com members are thinking that this is going to be a low scoring game, under 2.5 goals, but the price is really prohibitive. So we're going to be looking at playing both 1-0 at $6 and 2-0 at $8.50 as a correct score bet for Manchester United to win. That's your bet for this weekend. It's the FA Cup final. It's the big one in England. Have a great week.
OLBG, free sports betting tips to help you beat the bookies. Visit OLBG.com.
All right, it's that time of the show with Controversy Corner. Belinda Kelly talks with Grant Morgan about racing in Queensland.
Hello and welcome to Controversy Corner. I'm Belinda Kelly. Today I'm joined by Blinkers Off co-host Grant Morgan to talk about racing in Queensland. Now Grant, we know that racing in Queensland has been losing money. They've cut prize money as a result. What do you make of that?
Look, owners have got to ask themselves the question now, do they want to race in Queensland? And the reality is for racing Queensland, they need to understand that owners don't want to go and pat their horses as much as what they used to. So we're finding that owners are now jumping on a plane and going down and watching their horses race in Sydney and Melbourne. So I think if you actually looked at the statistics, owners in Queensland are probably still investing in horses, but it's flowing interstate. And that's a big problem for racing Queensland because when the owners leave, the trainers start to feel the pinch, and it's really the trainers that are critical to this industry. And they still have to pay their staff the same award wages that the trainers do in Melbourne and Sydney, but they charge in some cases 25 to 40% less in training fee. So it's a mathematical impossibility for trainers to make a decent living here in Queensland. And Racing Queensland really need to take a long, hard look at themselves and put a strategy together to help the trainers. They can't expect to cut prize money and make the trainers pay the same rates that they're being paying and expect them to go out and get new owners and new horses. And as a result, we have lesser quality horses, we have smaller race fields, and the punters bet on the races less. And we're seeing that in wagering turnover. So it's time Racing Queensland, the new chairman and whoever the new CEO is, they need to have a vision and a strategy to help the key groups. And the key groups are trainers, owners and punters. They're the three key groups. There's other groups within this industry that have had too much to say and too much influence over the years, particularly over the last 30 years. And I think the government needs to understand this better, and they need to focus on the key drivers in this industry, which are trainers, owners and punters.
Do you think they're banking too much on the reopening of Eagle Farm Ground?
Well, look, they're using Eagle Farm as an excuse. It certainly has contributed, but it's back online soon, so they've got to start to get rolling.
Yep. So Racing Queensland have not provided any comment to Blinkers Off despite several approaches. Thanks a lot, Grant, and that's Controversy Corner for this week.
All right, it's the best bets, the best time of the show. We're just going to put up on screen now quickly over the course of the last 3 shows, but the first 2 we just have the best bets. Grant there invested 3 units for a return of 7 units there, +4, doing well, very well. A nice, the bank manager will be very happy there. And Ben also showing a nice little healthy dividend, invested 4 units for a return. You're still +1.8 in front. So the Brains Trust doing very well for the punters. All right, what is the best for the program?
I'm with ARTLEE, Jess. I think he finds the right race, it's the right pattern, and but just wait for that $4. Just don't bet too early, come in late.
Come in late, that's a good tip there. $4, Ben?
Well, frankly, I'm all in on Silver, and I'm all in on Donald Trump, and I've had a little bet on Wicked Intent in race 1 and number 6 in the last race, Sir Bacchus. I think it's a very promising horse to follow from the Waller camp.
All right, there you have it, the best bets. Hopefully we'll find a winner. I'm having a little each-way bet on missed 10 pins from the Bourne Bakers table. All right, thanks for joining us. That's all we have for now. Join us next week. Same place, same time. Bye for now.